Okay, it looks like we are live on YouTube.
Okay. Sounds good. So we're looks like we're live. Let's go ahead and get the meeting started. Welcome everybody to the September meeting. Just kind of real quick. We'll cover this a little bit more in depth later, but as y'all can see, we are meeting via WebEx again. There's some new county directives that came through. So the exec committee did make the decision to, for now, meet on WebEx, and we can kind of discuss what those guidelines are and what that means for us going forward and how we want to proceed in coming up with our own kind of CTC guidelines for meetings. So we can cover that in a little while, but just want to say, yeah, thanks again for everybody tuning in for this, and we can go ahead and get started here. So let's see, Rodney, do you have the roll call?
I do. I'm marking people down as they show up.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Rodney. So yeah, as Rodney kind of notes that down, really the only other action item that we have. Oh, Aaron Hall has a question here. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. So I know I didn't serve as the ACC arborist for very long. I've been moved to the senior planner position, but we just recently hired Eric, who is the other person in a very governmental looking background. He's going to be the new ACC arborist. So he'll be sitting in on these meetings. And if you have any questions for him, he's great to work with. Just let him know.
Awesome. Well, Aaron, congratulations. That's awesome. All right. And so yeah, if our new ACC arborist wants to say any words, you got the floor. So yeah.
Yeah, just happy to be here. Nice to meet everyone, and look forward to doing the meeting.
All right. Good deal, Eric. Yeah, this is we're glad to have you here. And yeah, if you have any questions, this is kind of just I don't know, we're kind of, what would you classify us as, Rodney? A sort of a liaison group between county government and the citizenry. We're a 501c3, but we do make recommendations regarding government decisions for, planning, in terms of plans review, in terms of general guidelines. We have a policy committee as well that I think that's probably the one that you'll want to, sit in on most, as it kind of pertains to, planning directives for the future and where tree-related ordinance is heading. We've got a really neat committee here that you'll get to meet and talk with. But if you have any questions, feel free to chime in. But otherwise, Rodney, did I miss anything?
That's pretty good. We're basically an Athens-Clarke County Advisory Committee or Advisory Council that also has some educational and public outreach components to it as well.
Yeah, we're all about trees. So, but yeah, we're glad to have you on board. That's awesome. So welcome.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
So, sounds like roll call is good. Do we have a quorum today, Rodney?
We do.
Perfect. All right, so we can officially vote on business. That's good. I guess our first action item for today is just to approve the August minutes and the August committee meeting minutes. So
I don't think we're going to be able to approve committee meeting minutes because I don't really have any minutes from anybody. We were transitioning to committees meeting in person. I don't know what that looked like. We might have to figure out a system to make that work. we're kind of transitioning back to this online meeting, so we might have to talk about that some.
Sure. Yeah, I guess committees, if you guys met, just please send something Rodney's way, and we can always approve that at the next meeting as well. But just for good record keeping purposes, just remember to do that. And so yeah, we can take out the committee meeting minutes from the motion, but would anybody like to make a motion to approve the August CTC meeting minutes?
I will.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, great. All in favor? Fantastic. Okay, so council moves to approve the minutes. All right. So I guess we can move into our treasurer's report. How many cents did we accrue?
The only change from last month is we got 17 cents of interest in our money's market account. I did also make one little goof because I was buying lottery tickets for the Keep Athens-Clarke County Beautiful lottery, and my computer was still logged into ACC Tree Council, and so I had to pay them back. But so the total amount should be the same. It's just that I took it out by mistake and had to put it back in.
Yeah,
So I was so
right.
eager to jump on those tickets, I didn't check first.
We received a check from this person for $50. They're interested in one of the white oak trees, so we may have to coordinate that a little bit also. But just so everybody knows, there's a $50 check here.
Okay,
Fantastic. Who's it from?
It's
that's fine.
from
You can deliver it to my house, or I can come pick it up, whatever.
Caitlin
Metzler?
Merzel,
Metzcliff.
I think.
I think it's Metzcliff, but Caitlin and Cord.
Probably right.
It's a house that we did over on Willow and Pine Needle, and I just happened to know they were coming into landscaping and documentary. And I think Phil, you may be in touch with them, and they're gonna take this. And I've got one more that's gonna take a tree sooner rather than later.
Mary, am I muted? I'm
No.
gonna try to get in touch with Caitlin
Yeah.
this week and see about getting that tree over
That
to him.
sounds
So
good.
if you make contact with your other person that's purchasing, let me know, and maybe I can do a twofer haul.
That sounds good. And if you want company that's better than your adorable dog, I'm happy to ride along. But I'm not
Okay,
sure it's better company.
thank you. Do you have fleas?
Anyway, that's all I've got for the treasurer's report. We'll work out how to pick up that check.
Sounds good. Yeah, Phil, how many trees do we have at this point? Oh, you're muted again.
We have 21. Of course, Mary has one spoken for. It sounds like two now, so we're down to 19. I think we're obligated for a few to the sustainability office, and I'm not sure how many.
So they've got us between 3 and 5. I'm not
Okay.
trying to pin them down. They have a new person who I've been contacting with, and she's great. And so, and I'm also gonna work that out that I'm gonna donate those to the Office of Sustainability. So when we determine the number 3 or 5, I'll write a check to CTC for those trees for them.
Okay, and we're going to hang on to those for a little
Yes.
later in the fall, right?
Won't
Okay.
take them yet.
Okay, that's fine. Any others? This is out of order, of course, but so am I. Any others that are obligated? We know we have one, at least one for the Larry Morris planting. So maybe somewhere between 12 and 15 remaining.
Phil, I was hoping you could donate one for the Grand Door Prize for our event on October 30th.
That's the pleasure of the council, however they want to do it.
Edith, I've got you some other trees from the Forestry Commission. They can donate trees too.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Okay. Well, cool. That sounds good. Yeah, we can cover that a little bit more in depth at the trees for tomorrow section. So that sounds good. Let's go ahead and move into CTC business. We've got a couple of things, discussion item up here that has to do with COVID protocols. So I don't know if you all have your agendas in front of you. I can read what we have. So ACC has released some protocols regarding in-person meetings, which Rodney forwarded out. Basically, it says for in-person meetings and use of technology, please limit the use of in-person meetings. If in-person meetings are required, please maintain 6 feet distance between each member of the meeting and refrain from having more than 10 attendees. Instead of in-person meetings, please utilize technology, WebEx, Jabber, VoIP phones, which are all supported by IT, end quote. So really our discussion item comes down to we as the council probably today need to come up with our own guidelines of how we want to move forward regarding meetings for each of our facets. So for the full council meeting, for committee meetings, and for work groups. So I'm going to open up the floor for discussion. And I guess we can start with how we want to approach the general council meetings. Floor is open for anybody that wants to present any ideas.
I think according to the recommendations from the county and their guidelines, it doesn't sound like we really have the option to meet in public in person at this time because we have more than 10 council members. Am I understanding that correctly?
I would agree with that. Yep.
If we meet indoors, yes. I mean, if there was some sort of outdoor venue, but with the change of season coming up, that might not be as much of an option.
That's right. Yeah, in my opinion, Jesse, I think you're right. The more than 10 kind of prevents us from really entertaining in-person meetings at this time. That may change given additional county directives, but I think the most recent one, I would agree. I think probably council meetings need to have this online format until we hear otherwise.
I miss seeing people in person, but it is convenient to do it this way, that's for sure.
But that still leaves open work groups and committees could arrange meetings in person if
That's
possible.
right. That's
Okay.
yeah. For now, we're just coming up with the general council meeting, how we want to approach that. So, anybody else have any thoughts on that, or pretty much in agreement? Okay. So yeah, I think we can wrap this into one big motion, but it sounds like we can move on to how we want to approach kind of the committee and the work group meetings. We'll do those individually. So let's address committee meetings, since there's kind of a more official nature of committee meetings versus work groups, which are sort of more open forum. So I will open the floor up to discuss how we want to move forward with committee meetings next. Anybody have any thoughts? I guess most of our committees are not larger than 10 members, are they? Maybe the trees for tomorrow might be.
I don't think so. It's a fairly loose association, I think.
Oh, my mistake. That's actually a work group, or is it? Yep, that's a work group. So really, we're talking about promotions committee, policy committee, and education committee, which all look like on the rosters are fewer than 10 people. So I would say based on this directive, the committees probably have their choice of whether they want to kind of establish a time block like we were doing the first half of the year, where we would notify the county again ahead of time, create a work block for committees where y'all would basically sign on to the county WebEx at 12 noon or whatever on a Monday and have dedicated time. Or since y'all are less than 10, it sounds like if the the committees want to meet in person, you still have that available to you, so long as social distance guidelines are upheld.
I know we've had a lot of discussion about this in the past, but is this something that we could decide individually for each committee, or would we have to kind of unilaterally decide for everyone, like, okay, we're going to go with this format?
I think it boils down to each committee's preference. I think it'd be good to discuss here so Rodney can know if he needs to set up additional block time with the Office of Information Technology. So if there are any.
My recollection is that the issue is that because the public has to be notified and there has to be a certain period of time, that it becomes more complicated if committees meet in person at irregular intervals. If you have an established meeting time on WebEx and either you show up and there's discussion or you don't utilize it for that time, then it's always posted and the public is always aware. Other than that, I don't see an issue with meeting in person.
I would think that doing it through WebEx would encourage better attendance. It's sometimes hard to leave the office, or if someone's out of town. I can remember one time Mary driving back from the beach and she was in her car. So you can do it from the field or anywhere. I think it's a little bit easier.
I would agree with that in general, and especially for the full council meetings that are at a set time. But I feel like for the smaller committee groups, you can work around multiple schedules a little bit easier because there are fewer people involved. So my personal preference for the full committee would be to meet WebEx, but for individual groups to find a time that we could meet in person, I think it's easier to get work done. But that's just me.
I second Jesse's notion in that, like, the full committee where we're reporting and sort of catching the whole group up seems to work really well in WebEx, but I find it difficult to make forward progress in smaller groups, when we can't be sort of in person moving at real time.
Yeah, I haven't been on a committee in a while, but I would agree with that. The kind of the in-person nature on a smaller scale does lend itself to in-person. But it's up to you guys. I think really the difference is what it boils down to really is the meeting agendas. If y'all choose to go the WebEx route, the chairs will need to get those agendas to Rodney with several days notice ahead of time so that he can post the link. I think with in-person, there's a shorter lead time. If y'all decide, hey, we need to meet right away. Let's meet, 2 days from now. You can just email him something and y'all can just meet. So there's a little bit of ease there as well. Yeah, Rodney, go ahead.
Yeah, so there's a couple things to think about, depending on what people decide they want to do. Like if one committee wants to meet on WebEx, they can do that. As far as like the lead time on with WebEx, there is a certain amount of coordination that's required. And there's also kind of a need for like at least advance notice, even if the committees meet in person. Like it still needs to be put on the calendar. If everybody decides they want to meet in person, I really think the easiest way for that to be facilitated is to select a place that's a consistent meeting place and meeting time. Then that can be put on the calendar. That qualifies for being a public notice. And then all that needs to be done by the committee chair is to make a little agenda that you can pass out. Like you can do this all on paper if you want, and then just keep some notes on the meeting, and then just send me your agenda and your notes, and I can post them along with the tree council meeting agenda and minutes. So I can post all the committee agendas together on the website. Does that make sense? Otherwise, if you want to meet online, it's pretty much the same thing, but I do have to have some coordination time with the Public Information Office to get the YouTube link for it.
Rodney, I apologize if I missed this, but if we were meeting in person, what kind of notice would you need to put it on the calendar?
I can only post something on the calendar once per month. I had this conversation with the Public Information Office a little while ago. There was a little bit of mix up with our making the change with the interview stuff. And I changed a couple things on the calendar. I can't do that. I have to only can post something once a month, and I need to communicate with them on average once a month. So we have to have that lead time to coordinate that. So, basically, if you let me know the Monday before, 7 days before the meeting, that could probably work, but 2 weeks is really much better, right?
So I think that's helpful for the committee chairs. Like if whatever you codify as when you need the information from a committee chair, that's the consistency that seems the most important, the meeting place and the notes and the agenda from committee chairs. So if you'll just let committee chairs know, that can be done. I think either if it's WebEx or live, it can be easy.
It's just far easier to manage if you meet at the same time and same place each month. Trying to juggle all of this plus the tree council is more than I'm able to do right now. It's just a little bit too much. So it's just that kind of this thinking ahead and, meeting the events, the public announcement component for the sunshine laws, and then we're good. So it's really up to each committee chair or committee to decide how they would like to do that. And then you just need to coordinate with me to make that work.
Okay. So it sounds like probably the committees just need to determine on their own what they want to do and maybe have a decision.
Does this include next week as well? Okay.
I guess this is kind of a catch-22 because the committees need to meet in order to vote, but they can't vote. Yeah, committees, if you guys just want to get together and let us know, maybe by next CTC meeting, what your preferred format will be. We can just roll with that. For now, because this is kind of everything's in flux. I don't really mind which way you meet. Just give Rodney enough heads up notice if you plan on meeting this month, and we will have a deadline for 1 month from now for committees to kind of have their preferred format in place. Does that sound reasonable to everybody? Okay. And I guess work groups, you all have a little bit more leeway. You know, you guys are not bound to the same sort of publicity and sunshine laws that the official committees are part of. So work group meetings, what's everybody feeling for that? We just want to keep it in person, or do y'all want to go to an official meeting format?
That almost has to be in person, the work groups, because if we're working on like Larry's Memorial or things like that, you know, there's a lot of stuff we have to actually do on site. So I think, and those really aren't going to be, I mean, with the exception of maybe Larry's Memorial, they're not going to be more than 10 people.
Yep.
That's in my view.
Yeah, and those are outdoors too. So let me double check the language here. But does this say in person inside, or just in person inside or out? I guess it doesn't say.
It's really about indoors inside the buildings.
About indoors. Okay. It's like the Larry Memorial Grove. That's outdoors anyway. So even if that was 10 plus, then I think would be okay.
And Edith's upcoming walk, you know, we have a lot of things that are, you know, in our Arbor Day stuff, a lot of that's outside. So.
Yep. Okay.
I don't have a Trees for Tomorrow work group meeting planned, but oftentimes those have been outside and likely will be in the future. But also, again, I think we can transact business by email with other members of the working group without worrying about the sunshine laws also, can't we? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, as long as the tree council itself makes the decisions, the work group just carries out those decisions, and that's fine to me to do that.
Would it be possible to meet by WebEx next Monday to discuss how we're going to meet in the future?
Yeah.
I would have to check in with public information and see where they stand on that. It's probably would be possible, but I can't commit to it. Okay.
The reason I ask is you said you needed 7 days, and today would be the 7th day.
That's right. The timeline would be pretty tricky for people.
Maybe for the sake of emergency pandemic protocol, maybe we have a little leeway on the committee's ability to decide how they want to meet for next month. I'm not going to report you to the county if you guys talk on the phone or via email to determine how you all want to move forward. I think it's more necessary to come up with the guidelines than it is to worry about that stuff at this point. You know, everything's dynamic, it's in flux right now. So y'all feel free to discuss, you know, outside of this, how you want to proceed, and just let Rodney and I know one way or another before next monthly meeting. I think that'll be fine. So I guess sounds like we can make a motion regarding CTC meetings and meeting via WebEx.
I move that we continue to meet as a full council monthly using the WebEx procedure and following the same second Monday 4 o'clock protocol that we have had in place.
I'll second that. All in favor? Okay.
I need to ask for a point of clarification. the motion is to continue meeting as a council. What was the second part? Are we discontinuing the online, or is that continuing for the committee meetings?
This motion is just for the general council.
Okay. Then I
And
support that.
committees and work groups, y'all can use this month to decide, how you want to proceed. And either way is really fine. Whatever y'all find easiest. Okay. Great. Well, thank you, Phil, for making the motion. So we will we'll just continue to follow the WebEx format for next month's meeting.
So now what do we do about the committees?
The committees will determine outside of this meeting how they want to proceed, and maybe as part of your agendas for the general council meeting, you can include maybe how y'all have decided to meet moving forward. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thanks everybody. Not necessarily stuff we thought we'd be covering as a tree council, but here we are. Strange world that we're in. Let's see here. I don't have anything for the executive committee. I guess Jesse, Pam, and Rodney, am I missing anything important? Okay. Does the steering committee have anything additional? That's exec committee plus the committee chairs. Does any of the chairs have anything that they'd like to add to the steering committee discussion? Okay. Great. Moving right along here. Let's see. Sean, I will let you have the floor next for the new member interview work group. Any updates or developments on that?
Yeah, we interviewed a couple of awesome candidates, one of which included Lauren Stubbs. Sarah Grizzle was the first one we met, I believe. She has a background in television production, I believe, one of which included like Arctic work. Pretty awesome. She's a very energetic and qualified person. The other one was Lauren Stubbs, very qualified person as well. She comes from a background. She's has landscape architecture, local gardener currently. But I'm not sure how everybody else voted, but they got high marks on my part. My behalf.
That's great.
Rodney, remind me how many we have. 4 left for the interview, please.
Yes, there are 4 others. We have 2 scheduled to interview this Friday, and I received 2 additional applications today. And the quality of people that we're seeing is very, very high. So it's going to be a tough choice, it looks like. But that's a great issue to have.
That's fantastic. That's great news. Who all sat on those interviews? Okay, awesome. Well, that's great news, Sean. Anything else to include on that?
I don't have anything.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's great. Thank you, Sean. Can move into trees for tomorrow if that's all. Bill, you want to take the floor?
Sure. as I mentioned, we have not had a meeting, but it sounds like that the time is right to have a bit of a discussion about these seedlings from the tree that owns itself. How we're going to dispense those and so forth. I did a little quick tally based on what we talked about a little while ago, and it appears we have somewhere around 12 trees, 10 to 12 trees obligated at present, which means there are 10 or 11 remaining. And I don't know if we want to do that just first come, first serve. If there's some other way that it needs to be done, the full council needs to decide that. Yeah. And then I have one other thing that we might want to go ahead and talk about. So let's go ahead and get this tree for the tree that owns itself seedlings taken care of first. Is there some other procedure that we want to use other than $50 to the first come, first serve?
I kind of think we could do $100. Just say that we have.
Don't change the price before I buy mine.
I know, right? That's what I've got a spot already picked out for one. But no, I like to make a donation. I haven't made a donation yet this year. So, yeah, I think that before, or, we could do something different for council members, but I think if we're going to put it out to the public, just as a quick little fund drive.
I think we've already sold several at the $50 level, so I feel like it'd almost be unfair to raise the price right now. But I do kind of like the idea of putting it out for council members to purchase first, and then maybe putting it out, and like once we figure out how many are left over after that, then put it out to the general public.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. I agree with that too.
Sounds good to me. I'm flexible.
I think they're going to fly out of Phil's care at $50 each. They're really good looking.
No, this is something that we could do again. I don't know if Angel Creek might not be willing to help us out since they got nothing out of it except tied up some of their space for a while. But acorns are easy to plant and get started. I don't know about the quality of the seedlings if you start them in pots and bring them along like that the whole time. But we could try it in future years.
This is Andrew Saunders. I just wanted to point out that as a nonprofit, if Angel Creek is in fact giving you a discount over retail, you all can issue them a tax letter acknowledging the value of that donation, and that may be something that helps them with their business.
Good point.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you, Andrew.
We would just need to figure out what the value was then.
We could value them at $100.
Well, I would say we would at least value them at what we are requiring a donation be set at for those that we actually do deliver anyway.
They're in like 7-gallon pots, right? Mostly.
Yeah, Mary, you saw the pot. I'm not familiar with the nursery business well enough to know. They were in what, 3-gallon pots initially, Rodney? Is that right? Okay. Well, these are more than twice as large as the initial pot that they were in, I would say. So at least 7, perhaps larger.
If you were to go to Kofer's and buy a tree that, I can't quite see what the caliper is, but it looks pretty tall.
The caliper is not great. Most of them are probably somewhere an inch to an inch and a half just above the root collar. So they're not real sturdy, stout trees.
Let's see. Seeing if I could share it, but I'm challenged.
I can't.
I know.
If we did a phase 2, Phil, instead of it being something where either a nursery or you propagate the seeds, it might be a good way to begin a deeper partnership with like the Young Urban Farmers or the Athens Land Trust, or a group that we want to try to take on large canopy trees and plant, to have them buy in and raise them, because getting the acorns that's not the difficult part, right?
Right. It's not. And white oaks sprout almost as quick as they hit the ground. So that's not an issue. In fact, if you just wanted to promote the council and have almost a giveaway kind of a thing, it would be very easy to get acorns to sprout in small pots and just give those out. People can put them in the ground. Honestly, trees grow best. The quicker you can get one in the ground, out of a pot and in the ground, the better anyway, usually.
I just acquired 2 from the gutter of my nephew, so I'm gonna grow those took them out of the gutter.
That it for the trees for tomorrow? If it is, there was a mention at our last meeting, and I haven't been able to get by there and check, but that one or more of the trees that we planted for Arbor Day last time across from the new racetrack might either be in decline or dead now, in which case we at some point are going to need to talk about replacement for those. I don't have any designs on trying to have an event this fall to plant other than just an informal replacement if they're needed. But perhaps I don't know, something at the Larry Morris site for Arbor Day next year would be a possibility, or there may be other planting areas open on the not the greenway, the trail. If there would ever finish that corner, supposedly we would have more planting opportunities there, and I've been kind of waiting for that to happen. Rodney, is there any completion of DOT's business there at that intersection? Do you know?
I really don't. I think it's a little bit of a no man's land. It just would require coordination, between the county and GDOT.
Last time I was by there, it just looked like nothing had happened since the planning occurred last year. So I don't think we want to do anything else there until it's resolved or reaches some sort of completion. But we should feel some obligation, I think, to get replacement trees in the ground rather than leaving some dead ones. That's not very good publicity. But other than that, that's all I have.
Okay.
Phil, I'm sorry. I was thinking of a different location to replace the tree that has died over by the racetrack. That should be easy enough to facilitate.
Oh yeah. Well, I was talking about that, but also about the area between there, where the trail is, and the actual intersection of Old Winterville and the Lexington Road or Oconee Street, whatever it's called there. There was some talk at one point we were going to come back to that area and do some further planning. but we were asked or kind of encouraged to refrain from doing that until they figured out what they were going to do with that little paved parking lot that remains at the end of the building, and the sidewalk situation and utilities and so forth. So I was just wondering if anything further had happened there.
Yes, you're correct. So the last thing that I heard is that GDOT was going to start doing work in that area this fall, but I have seen no plans. I have no idea what they're doing.
Okay,
So waiting is definitely a good idea.
I agree. Okay, thank you, Rodney.
Before we move on, so do you all think that I should put out something about your trees, Phil, or do you want to wait until these committee members get the trees that we want to get from you in exchange for a donation? Or should I go ahead and put a post out to the public?
Maybe the best thing to do is for you on the committee, on the council, if you have designs for one, get in touch with me and make sure that I get word that you want one, so that I can have X number set aside and do that by next monthly meeting, so that we can let Mary take off with the advertising for the remainder.
So I'll wait, put it out at the next meeting in October.
Yeah. So if you want a tree and you want to make a donation and get a tree, let me know, and I will tag one for you.
Phil, about the trees, who do we give the donation to? Do we mail it to Pam? And is it possible to get more than one tree per member, or we want to limit to one tree per member?
That, again, that's at the pleasure of the council. Money is money.
Yeah.
But how many did you want, Patrick?
Everybody that wants to.
A couple, maybe one for a day after Christmas, and maybe one for somebody else, maybe. No, not too many.
You can have mine because I won't get one.
I think that's fine.
Bill, will you go ahead and set aside one for new urban forestry that we can plant along our portion of the Firefly Trail?
Sure. Okay. Patrick, do you know how many you would like to have?
Let me get one for now. I might get a second one. Let me just confirm one.
How many?
Just one for now.
One, okay.
Confirm one. If there's an extra, should I send a check to Pam, or how do I get you guys the money?
That's probably Pam, you're the one that's going to wind up needing to make the deposit, you or Rodney, and Rodney's juggling enough things in the air.
I'm happy to do it if you want to. You can bring it to my house or you can mail it to me. The other option is, I think we do take donations on our website, and I guess you could donate through PayPal.
I'm old school. I don't have PayPal.
The only thing about PayPal is I think we lose some of the income because they take a fee off of it, but it's not a lot.
I'll mail you a check.
Okay. I'll send an email out with my address to the group.
Right. Great. That would be good, Pam.
Looks like, Phil, we got a note, one for Mary Attaway in the chat as well.
Right. I've got let me just tell you what I've got. I have one that's going to be a donation for the Tree ID program as a door prize. We've got two that Mary Songster has clients that have spoken for, 3 to 5 to the sustainability, one that Mary Attaway has asked for, one or more for the Larry Morris site, one for New Urban, and one for Patrick. Am I missing any at this point? Okay.
Hey, this is Lee. I'm not requesting a tree, but I'm about to put in the Gazette entry for the Winterville Gazette. And wait, I can start my video here. And I was going to put in there, Edith and I had talked about some language that in the Gazette, I was going to put that we would have the seedlings available at the October 30th event, the Tree ID event. But if someone wanted to reserve one ahead of time, they could just email us and let us know. Since we're getting down so low on trees, should I maybe not include that?
It seemed I also saw something, was that something from Edith about, maybe it was in the agenda for today, about no trees for sale allowed, trees needed for door prizes. So again, that whole donation, minimum required donation, I don't know how that stacks up with the legality of language. Lee, you could address that better than I could. I know I've seen people get in trouble with raffles in the past.
Edith, what do you think? What's the latest from what you know?
Randy was pretty adamant that, we not have sales. I think it's not because they're a government entity, that we really can't have any type of tree sales there. So we were, if
we're going to call it a donation.
Yeah, if someone donated ahead of time, what we're going to do with the registration is have a link to our website for donations suggested. We can't say you have to do this in order to register. The program is free. I would hope that, we'd be advertising the trees on the website, and then we would just distribute them there, convenient, and be convenient for someone to pick up. The donation would have occurred ahead of time. So, that wouldn't really be a sales there. It'd just be they're picking their tree up. They'd reserved ahead of time.
Well, does it, I don't know, Phil, I've lost count of how many left. So I think that I should take that out of the Gazette.
I kind of do. There are only 10 trees left.
Okay, I'll take that out.
Maybe 12. Maybe 12.
Yeah, about
between door prizes. I would hate to overcommit,
Okay. Consider it gone.
And then we had the question too, if it's a donation, do they have to donate $50 to get the tree? What if someone said, well, I want a tree and I'm only donating $10?
I've got one that I can use for that. It's mostly dead.
Okay.
I have always worded it as a suggested donation. And nobody's ever given less, but
yeah, it would take a certain type of person to give less on a suggested donation.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Phil has a tree for that.
They can have the tree,
I like it. I like it.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this seems to be really super popular and seems to be getting a pretty amazing response. And it seems to me that if we were able to partner with some youth group or some organization that would be willing to propagate these trees, I think it would generate it seems like it would generate a whole lot of support. So it seems like we found something that seems to be working really amazingly well.
True.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, Rodney. Could definitely be some good partnerships potentially available there. So, I guess promotions and education. Y'all can maybe put your heads together on that one. Yeah, that's a great point, Rodney. Yeah, I guess, is there anything else for trees for tomorrow? It sounds like we got a lot of the trees spoken for, which is great. Phil, if I had any more room, I got too many trees.
I would have planted them myself if I had any more room, Joe. I know what you're talking about.
All right. Phil, thank you. Is there anything else you have?
No, not today.
Okay. Thanks, Phil. Let's go ahead and move into the grants and fundraising work group. Looks like we have a couple items here.
Yeah, the Synovus application was submitted on the 9th. We're supposed to get feedback on it in November, and then the actual award is made in January. And I had sent it out to everyone, maybe not everyone, but a lot of folks, and got some really good comments back, which I used to edit what I'd sent out, the original draft. And I was looking at some of the other deadlines coming up. I know Stacy had worked on this before. The State Farm application period is open October 1st to the 31st. Is Stacy here?
I am here, Edith.
Yeah, hey. Would that be something you would be able to work on?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to kind of resubmit that and take
Right.
Yeah, because that's really all it is, but I certainly can review it and then get with you and see if there's anything we need to change or.
I did borrow some of the language from that for the Synovus grant, but what are the chances we'd get approved for both?
Well, actually, Edith, well done, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're really not supposed to reinvent the wheel. So, so that's a good thing to do. It allows us to apply for more grants. So.
Oh, and Pam had sent, this was another one coming up. The deadline was October 15th. This is through the Georgia Tree Council, Georgia Relief. And I read the grant application, and it seemed fine at first. Then it seemed like it's maybe going to be a little more complicated than I initially thought. They want a planting site plan, total area, intended species, locations of tree plantings, needs to include pictures and a sketch or a map. They want a 3-year maintenance plan, also a letter of endorsement from the local government if planning on city or county property, and then a signed liability waiver. So I don't know, what are the chances that we could pull this together by mid-October? I don't know. And I'm not sure of the amount. You know, I didn't see that on here. Is that one that we think maybe just too complicated to pursue?
I think, all those things sound doable within a 30-day window. It's kind of more how your work group feels based on kind of your own workload and if y'all want to pursue that and need support, we've got a lot of helping hands ready to help you. It's
Do we already have a site plan for a particular parcel?
only thing I can think of is
my question. It sounds like this is targeting an organization that has a particular parcel picked out, and we were looking for, in these others, we're more looking at a range of locations. It seems to me. I don't know.
I have been in contact with the head. I'm trying to remember his name. I'm sorry. What is his name? The man in charge of things of this nature at the school district. And I got his name from Sean. And Mark. Right? Yeah. And I'm sorry, I can't remember his last name. It doesn't matter. So he wrote me back saying that there are lots of places and lots of potential places that they could plant at various schools. He was going to talk to his higher ups and be back in touch with me. And I still haven't heard anything from him. I emailed him again today. So maybe we'll hear something.
Okay.
Is it an
But
established grant, Edith? I mean, it's something that we know will be annual, because we may just get our ducks in a row, like get familiar with the grants and then get the pieces ready, and then make it be easier to pull the trigger next year.
Yeah. It doesn't say annual, and sometimes they will say this is, one-time grant. They do want a 3-year maintenance plan, so I get the impression it's probably not annual. Yeah, and we have the budget. They don't give the amount. I'll try to find out what the amount is. And I mean, trying to get all this together in 30 days, given the way that we're meeting now, I'm just wondering how doable it'd be for this year. I mean,
What's the name of the grant, Edith?
It's Georgia Relief, and it's through the Georgia Tree Council.
we've seen that one, RELEAF,
Yes.
relief.
Yes. And we'd seem to fall in line with their mission, which is reforestation and just improving tree canopy in areas that are disadvantaged.
Hey, Edith, the relief program is specific to storm damage.
What's that?
It is, but they do more than that. It's storm damage and just trying to introduce tree canopy to disadvantaged areas. Where's the mission statement?
Tree equity. Yeah, they're into tree equity issues.
Yeah, that's it. That was the wording.
I definitely think it's good to apply, but also like currently, we could be overcapacitated. I'm not saying, we can get more money than we can use. And so, and we do have to wait to see if we get the grant, but we also don't want to, if we get more than $10,000, what the heck are we going to do with it?
Oh.
So, I think we can keep going, keep building capacity, but, keep building capacity. It may be a little slower than getting them all in the first year.
Okay.
I do think the relief program is predominantly focused on storm damaged areas. They are kind of overwhelmed currently with southwestern Georgia. However, I'm on the Georgia Tree Council. I can put in a good word, but I don't know that would be necessarily an option right now.
Yeah. Okay. So this is one we should put on the back burner, but pursue. Probably for not this year. Oh, and Jesse, you had mentioned the One Tree Planted program, that there was a partner.
Yes, I spoke with them, and they actually do not work with government organizations. I have asked them to reach out to the land trust to try a partnership with them instead. There may be some options in the future. That this was specifically for one. They're looking for a planting partner for the Caterpillar grant, and they really want somebody who does event organization. But there may be options for future projects if we as a private company could manage the funds for the Tree Council. They just won't work directly with the Tree Council, unfortunately.
If we're a nonprofit, are we a government organization?
Rodney?
We keep having this conversation. So the Community Tree Council is definitely connected and associated with Athens-Clarke County. Where it matters the most is in meeting the sunshine law requirements. But as a 501c3, it is allowed to raise money. So it's kind of both, but it is connected to Athens-Clarke County.
That's enough of an affiliation for them to want to stay far away from us.
Okay.
We're a quasi-governmental organization.
That worked when we were asking Leisure Services to partner with us. So it helped a lot. I guess we can't have it both ways. The only other thing that that comes to mind was, we've talked about a lot of the parcels and, where we can plant trees. As a new member, I've become familiar with some of the sites, but not all of them. And I just think it would help in applying for funds or grants to know where we want to plant, the size of the parcel, how many trees, who owns it, what permissions we'd have to get. We don't have any kind of a reference tool other than our memories, and I wouldn't want to rely on mine. So is that something that we could get together?
As long as no one mentions dog parks.
I think, the nature of planting trees is you almost have to know each site. Like you have to know, and you need to put together a plan. And part of that really is like gauging utilities and future development. So it really can be quite complex. And that's sort of the dilemma we're in right now, right? Like we're on the cusp of a couple possibilities, but it really does require that planning component to it. And maybe the conversation is to, what sites what sites would people be interested in? Who would sponsor those areas? Those sort of questions that might help. But I think there is some planning needed to really be able to start having these sites in hand at a level that's more than just thinking about where might be a good place.
Yeah.
Like I have one site in mind and it's good for about 5 trees, and that's all I have at the moment because of those planning requirements.
Is it something that we would begin to develop a relationship with Leisure Services and Office of Sustainability and Central Services, other areas that we know are going to have an active role in planting, to maybe ask what their plans are? And so we can have it as an overlay. Like if we can do it, we do it. But if they have something where we could help them, it's possible we could, partner with grants for them.
Absolutely.
What they wanted to do.
I think that's absolutely the right approach, is, just really consider the lead time that everybody needs for that. You almost need a full season lead time. And once you can give these folks that lead time, they're much more able to work with everybody to make something happen. It's really difficult to pull something off kind of last minute.
Yeah.
A question about the planting sites. I think a list is a great idea. Could we go, government sites, as Rodney's been saying, we're extremely limited on the government sites, but can we start reaching out to some of the local nonprofits and churches per se and other groups around the area to see if we can find organizations that, hey, we'll take a tree on our site, we'll take 5 trees, and try to, develop a list like Edith was saying, that we could actually get other groups, instead of just always going on public property, have actually other nonprofits and private properties that we can actually plant on and have a list. Because also on private properties, you don't have to worry as much about some of the public utilities, because typically they're on larger properties, they're more spaced out. You can have more options there. So no, that was an opportunity.
Yeah, I think it depends a lot on the grant too, whether, if it's public versus private. Some grants are more specific than others, but, I think Edith has started that too, kind of a prospecting list of available areas and organizations and things like that. So, I think to reiterate that is real important for sure, to, something that can be passed along to future chairs, and something that can evolve and kind of stay with the council as a available list. Another thing you might reach out to is leaning on Aaron Hall and Eric, the new arborist. They really have their ears to the ground on kind of the parcels in Athens that are available, that are zoned correctly, those kind of things. So you can reach out to them and just kind of see, you know, they know what's being built and what's open, what's derelict, all that stuff. So conversations with those guys,
Yeah.
I think would be important too.
I think that would be a really simple start, Edith, too, if you were to email Eric, the new arborist, and just say, hey, for CCT, we're trying to collect this information, and also help begin to build a relationship so that he stays for the whole meeting.
This does bring us to the habitat proposal. We've not heard anything back. I'm actually worried about Charles Smith. I've called him and I've emailed him. I've stopped short of stalking him just to find out. He did say that they needed to send it up through the channels, but it was to use their projects for, you know, possible tree planting. And I've gotten no feedback about that. But we'll continue to pursue it. And I think that's about all we had. Can anyone think of anything else?
Yeah.
One more thing. If anyone has particular interest in any of these grants, you know, that'd be great if someone could adopt one and maybe spearhead it and get help from other members on the committee.
Yeah, it's a great point, Edith. You're doing an amazing job, and I know your workload is large. So I know I say this a lot, but if anybody wants to jump in and help, like you said, just, you know, take one on, that'd be perfect. You know, kind of free you up to continue doing your role. So yeah, I think great points there, and again, great progress, Edith. Really doing a great job on this. This is probably some of the most opportunities we've had to look at in a while. So yeah, keep up the good work. I guess if that's all we have for grants and fundraising, we do have 15 minutes left. So I may go ahead. Sean, do we have anything real pressing for landmark and champion trees? Or the Larry Morris?
Sorry, one moment. So not the update I have. The update I have is I'm going to be meeting with Stacy and her colleagues tomorrow. Is that tomorrow or?
I think it's Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday. And we're going to review the site with them, and thereafter we'll finalize and complete the application to adopt the site.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. Do you need anybody to come with you, or you just want to keep it a small group?
Stacy, is it open for other committee members, work group members?
Yeah, but you know what? I think there's kind of, Stephen Bailey wanted to bring a couple extra people. He's really, there's been a lot of turnover in Athens-Clarke County government over the years, and he's not super familiar with the Adopt Athens program. So we're bringing some extra ACC staff out there to kind of assess the area. And the area was, at first we thought it was a landscape management area, and we realized it was public works. And so anyway, so there's already, I think, about like 7 or 8 people coming out. And just in terms of kind of how the county's feeling about people meeting in person, it might just be a better idea to have Sean come and go that route, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's completely understandable. Sounds good. We look forward to hearing the results of that.
If I can add one thing, you know, there still is just a reminder to mark this on your calendar if you're available. But there is a celebration of Larry's life event on November 13th at Twincham's Phoenix, and I think I sent out an email for that. But it sounds like it's going to be a really nice event. And I confirmed it with his wife, Sue, that it's going to be in the evening. I think roughly around 5 o'clock. So hopefully you can attend.
Sean, can you resend that?
Will do.
Yeah, that sounds great. Definitely plan on being there myself. So good deal.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Let's go ahead. We've got 12 minutes left. Let's go ahead. I saw okay. Promotions committee. All right, Attaway, you have anything?
Just real quick, I made sure that they had plenty of those wooden name tags. Rodney, I just emailed you to see if you sent me a list of all of our current members several months ago, but we've had some changes. So I just want to make sure that I have the most current list of members. And we did not vote on this, but I was planning on just getting name tags for our current voting members. Just making a decision to do that. Is that good? Okay. And so if you have that list, I can figure it out. I just wanted to double check myself and not leave anybody off and make sure that I knew who was rolling off, and we can easily add a couple of new name tags when we usher in some new members.
Sounds good. I'm updating our roster because I forgot to, but only change I have is Lee Clark going ex officio. I believe everything else we have on Rodney's and I's sheet should be current, so we can send that out to you. Actually, share this with you if you want.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, I just added you to the roster list.
Mary, could I also send you the information about the October 30th event to promote?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Lee, if you have anything that I could share on behalf of Wintervilles, I'm happy to. I feel like we are good partners in that regard.
What kind of things are you looking for?
Not just anything that anybody has that would like to go out on social media. You know, the issue I haven't been very active on social media. I think we end up getting maybe 5 people that like the posts. So it's usually me and Phil. Way to go. And Joe, you know, and so it's us. And so I think, you know, I was lamenting about this the other day, like but I think the more I put out, the more people will see. So I shouldn't get disheartened by that. But so I will up my game on introductions of committee members and start doing that again. And again, if you see any posts, if you're on social media, you can grab it and copy and paste it on your own wall, which will help spread.
The best thing you can do is actually to share it, like click the share button, and that will allow your followers to see it too, because you don't want to just copy and paste whatever the post is. You want people to see the Free Council and drive them to that page.
That's right. That's right. So I plan to get more active on that again.
I think a good post once we kind of have our ducks in a row with the fall tree ID walk. That'd be a great post to put up. I saw we actually had a message from somebody asking if we do tree ID events. So I went ahead and said, you know, keep your eyes peeled for a post for end of October. So yeah.
Do you have a little blurb about that, or is
we do have about it? The the information went to Kate Mowbray, who's their naturalist, who will post it on the Leisure Services website through which we're doing our registration, which is great. And it'll have a link to our website for donations.
Great.
So it will be limited to the first 70 enrollees. It'll be rain or shine. There's no rain date. And Holly's done a great job of identifying the trees and the trails, you know, which route we'll need, which routes will be available. It will be ADA accessible for those that are mobility impaired, also for strollers. So there's no real age limit. I still need to find out about dogs. Does anyone know about dogs at the nature center? I know that sometimes it's an issue with hiking groups. Oh, and one question I had for Rodney was on the, do we have some educational materials at your office? Who has those? The pamphlets and things we can put out?
There are educational materials here. Just schedule time to come over and we can go take a look. I have a whole box of pamphlets, old, there's all kinds of stuff here. It's just kind of a matter of digging them out, kind of dust, you know, knocking the dust off the boxes.
Okay. And do we also have a like a table skirt or cloth that has the CTC name and logo on it?
A banner, I
Or the
believe.
registration table?
We had a banner.
We've got some Trees USA banners, but I'm not sure if we have a CTC logo banner anymore. I haven't seen it lately.
Probably the old logo anyway.
It would be the old one for sure. If
Yeah. The trees banner would work if you could bring that.
It might be time for us to get a new banner.
Yeah.
Rodney, we get a new Trees USA banner every year, and some of them have special designations on them. I'm trying to remember where. I think those went back to landscape after our last use, perhaps, maybe Arbor Day.
Yes, I have boxes of them.
Okay.
So once again, just let me know how to get them to you.
Okay. Oh, and also Holly had a request. She's been getting folks to be the guides for the trail. Holly, are you there?
Might have left.
Anyway,
let's finish
we're trying to keep small groups because of social distancing. And so she's gotten about 6 people, including herself, to act as guides. But we wanted to survey our own ranks before we asked the naturalists at the center to fill in as well. And this will, of course, be depending on the numbers we have registered. But is anyone willing to serve as a tree guide?
Sure.
What's the exact date again?
October 30th. It's Saturday, October 30th. It's from 10 to 12. We'll set up at 9, and we have everything to be broken down by 1. And Holly's identified, I think, about 20. She put together a spreadsheet which has,
Edith,
I think
if you want
about
to,
20 to 25 species on one trail and 30 on the other.
If you want to email that out, then we can kind of get everybody situated. Maybe we can get an email going on that.
Yeah. Okay.
And also, just if you could type up or share like a written blurb with some of the I have notes of what you've been saying, but just so that I could cohesively put it in a post.
Yeah, I've got that. That went to Sarah. So
be great.
Okay, like a press release kind of thing.
Yes, and we need to also, Jesse, on our website, can we promote that with a link to the Leisure Services website for registration?
Yeah, definitely. I can add that to the events page. No problem.
Okay, and I'll send the blurb to everybody.
Perfect.
Okay.
It looks like Mary's offering to do a logo on a tablecloth.
Thank you, Mary.
How would you do that? She's gone.
Oh, no, I'm still here. It,
Oh, good.
My thought is just I would like stencil. It'll probably be a sheet or some big thing of cloth, and I can just stencil the new logo on with a close approximation to the colors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just had a
Sounds
logo.
good.
I just had a logo made for Dolphin swim team this
Nice.
summer, and so I can look back at how much that was and throw it out there too.
I'm much better with the glue gun and paint than I am with embroidery, but speaking of needing a big block of time.
And those banners are nice. They're kind of tarp like, weatherproof and all that. So
Yeah.
definitely have both. I want the tablecloth.
We've been designated the overflow parking lot, which is a little bit of a distance from the nature center. But I think if anyone comes on this, they should be able to do I think it's like not even an eighth of a mile. But we probably could use one of the banners there on the fence, and someone just to direct parking too. So I'm hoping everybody will come out for this event.
Absolutely. So we've got 1 minute left. Mary, do you have any other promotions committee items? Okay. Well, I want to let, we've got an action item here for policy committee, so I will let Mary Songster take the floor.
Do we still have a quorum? I'm assuming, I'm hoping. So from the Community Tree Council Tree Policy Advisory Letter, there was no additional edits other than what we discussed at the meeting, where Rodney advised to emphasize the importance of the structure of the policy. Well, I don't have that word right, but what I'm hoping is if that document, that we can vote on it as submittable as a document from the CTC Council. And if that is a motion that can be made, then I will get with my committee and we will schedule a time to turn in the document officially to the Planning Commission with now Eric and Bruce Lonnie.
Any discussion on that? Everybody had a chance to look it over and feels good about it. Okay. Well, in that case, would anybody like to make a motion?
Can I make the motion? Am I allowed
Yeah,
to?
you can make the motion.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion that the Community Tree Council adopt the Community Tree Council Tree Policy Advisory Letter to be submitted to the Planning Department.
I will second that. All in favor? Okay.
Yes.
Good job, Mary.
Yay. Okay. That sounds good. We are at 5:31 p.m. We didn't get to education. Y'all want to stick around for a few minutes and try and cover some of these kind of details for the event? I'm okay staying another couple minutes.
I can stay a couple minutes.
Okay.
I need to get going. Are there voting items that need to be taken care of in that?
Not for education. So you're
Okay.
free to, you are all good to go. Thank you,
Thank
Jesse.
you. Thanks, guys.
And
See ya.
I need to run
Thanks,
as well,
Chelsea.
you guys. So you guys have a great week.
Thanks, Stacy. Okay. Edith, I'll let you have the floor for the tree ID on the Greenway update.
Awesome.
Okay. We will have 70 enrollees. Socially distanced groups will be guided on an ADA accessible, friendly for mobility impaired and strollers route, or one a little more challenging. So Holly had chosen the ADA trail. I don't know. I think everyone's pretty familiar with Sandy Creek Nature Center. I'm not sure about with their trails. And also the Pine Ridge Trail. And she did a spreadsheet, which I will forward, that identifies which tree species. So there was a pretty good variety. We're saying you'll even have a chance to win a sapling from the tree that owns itself and other door prizes. So I was hoping the members could begin collecting some native trees that we can give away as door prizes. Are there any other ideas about door prizes? It doesn't have to be a tree, but I guess it needs to be related.
Maybe shrubs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's appreciated.
Those bare root trees are always a big hit that we've gotten in the past from the Forest Commission. And there's usually a variety, and that's usually enough, really. I mean, when we've had, redbuds, dogwoods, several oaks, and they're bare root, maybe, I don't know, a couple feet tall.
Do we already have some?
No, I could look into getting some.
That'd be great. That's
Okay.
I guess open only at certain times of the year. I would
Do we
think.
have enough stickers where there could be a couple stickers thrown out there?
We do have some stickers, yeah. I think that Pam has all of our stickers now because she's sending them to people who donate with a thank you card. So I dropped them off at her place.
What about, like, I know October is a good time, maybe a little late, but it's a good time, like the Apple Festival and stuff up in LJ, apples and stuff. I didn't know if we could give something, like some kind of fresh apples or something from the area, or some kind of something about that.
Yeah, yeah. I need to check on the food situation. Do we, I thought we could have water and snacks available, but I'm not sure if those have to be something prepackaged from the store. So I'll try to clarify that with Randy.
If we do have to go the pre-bottled water, there's a brand called Smart Water, which is a Tetris pack. So it's a slightly less egregious packaging for water than your standard plastic bottle.
That's good to know.
I always like encouraging people to bring a water bottle to events like that,
Yeah, that would cut down on waste. We should add that to the blurb.
This has been reused several times.
Yeah.
And I know, I thought about it as I took a sip here in front of you all that I was drinking up. But
and if it doesn't have BPA, what else does it have that's leaching in?
We were dying at a football game and I forgot my water bottle.
Yeah, we are recommending sturdy shoes and face masks. And when they register, we do want to know the mobility preference, because just to be fair to the guides, if you're not doing one trail, why familiarize yourself with that? So we need to know how many guides, ahead of time, how many guides we'll need, and then give them enough time to be familiar with what they're going to be pointing out. And I haven't talked with Holly yet about, actually tree tags. That might be nice if someone wanted to come back later and just go over that. We are saying children must be accompanied by an adult. And we wanted to end the registration by October 22nd, just so we'll know how many people we need as guides.
Sounds great.
not wait until last minute. Besides the water, can anyone think of anything else that we haven't covered?
I think when you're showing the guides around, just to help people with their time management, if it's people that really know trees, that they could probably just meet before the event instead of doing a whole separate thing. I think everybody appreciates just the consolidation. Like if they needed to meet an hour beforehand to review the stops, that's just.
Yeah. Maybe that's something we're doing setup at 9. So maybe that's something Holly could do with the guides at 9.
Yeah.
That should give them enough time. Do we have any pamphlets that are actual Athens Community Tree Council pamphlets?
They're old. They have our old logo, and we did look into getting some new ones printed, and we sort of, with our limited funds, we landed on getting name tags instead of newer pamphlets. But we do have pamphlets, and they do have some valid information.
Okay.
Threw out an entire box a couple weeks ago. I think I still have an entire box of pamphlets, but they do have the old logo on them.
I mean, that's not to say we couldn't just design one ourselves and get it printed. And
honestly, you might do just as well like creating a QR code. And so if we have a QR code there, then people on their phone can just click with the QR code, and then they're right on our website, and then all the information will be right there. For
that's a good idea.
It's a great idea. Does anyone know how to do that?
Somebody does
for it.
Jesse would know how.
I'll make a note to Jesse about that.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. And I don't really want to add to the event, but just thinking that it is the day before Halloween, weather permitting, if it was nice. I mean, do we have any like coloring or like, make yourself a tree hat for the kids or anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. That would be a good station for me. I can do that better than any kind of tree ID.
Yeah.
I think we have some pencils we could give away too.
Oh, cool.
We do.
Yeah. I think
I have
using
an entire box of pencils, like a whole box of them. So
sweet.
Yes.
We might as well go ahead and use the old pamphlets. I think the fact that we've had a name and logo change is a minor detail.
Yeah.
And after all, we don't want to waste paper, do we?
Yeah, just give them out.
Yeah.
I love the QR.
But I do like that about the QR code.
Well, that sounds good. Is there anything else we need to cover for the event? I guess feel free to email out too, whatever you need, volunteers, happy to help you out. Looking forward to it. And I guess probably immediate needs for the other committees would be the kind of the press release for Mary to start advertising.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think otherwise, this sounds awesome. Yeah, looking forward to it. Anybody have anything else regarding this one? Okay. Well, it's 5:40, so let's go ahead and say let's make a motion to adjourn. Anybody second that?
I second.
All right, all in favor? All right. Thanks everybody for staying a little bit later. Yeah, we'll see you next time, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
Thank you.
So have you decided what tree you want from the tree council for your new wedding? For your what tree is the tree council giving you for? Let us know.
I don't know. I'll take any tree.
All right. Be careful.
We're running out of space in our yard, but
yeah,
it'd be a nice shrub.
I'll give you a dead one.
Well, what is this?
They don't require sunshine.
There you go.
All right. Thank y'all. We'll see you.
Thanks, guys. See ya.